All right, today we're jumping into a pretty big tech announcement, one that could seriously change how we think about the future of the internet. It all comes from a company called LINKSPREED, and they have a bold new vision for what they call digital independence.
So let's start with a provocative question. Think about this for a second. What if your internet access wasn't in the hands of just a few giant corporations? What if you were the one who was truly in charge of your connection to the world? That's really the core idea we're digging into today.
Okay, so where does a vision this big even begin? Well, it all kicks off with one very specific announcement.
And here it is. LINKSPREED just launched a whole new company, a subsidiary they're calling VIVON. Now, on the surface, that might just sound like some boring corporate shuffle, right? But it's what VIVON is for that makes this whole thing so interesting.
So what is VIVON, really? It's a new venture that's dedicated entirely to the mobile data and eSIM market. We're not talking about another app or some new software here. Nope. This is about the physical layer, the actual connection that gets you online in the first place.
Okay, so that immediately brings up a pretty obvious question, right? I mean, we've got tons of mobile carriers already. Why on earth do we need another one? Well, LINKSPREED's answer is that this isn't about just adding one more name to the list. It's about breaking free from the gatekeepers who run the whole show.
And that right there is the core issue. From LINKSPREED's perspective, the big traditional telecom companies, they're the problem. They see them as these huge, centralized gatekeepers that control everything, who gets on, what the rules are, and that ultimately holds back what a truly open internet could be.
And this really lays it all out, the two totally different visions. On one side, you've got the web we have now. Centralized control, those super annoying roaming barriers, and a few big corporations calling the shots. But on the other side, you have the vision they're pushing for, where the user has sovereignty, where access is borderless, and everything runs on decentralized protocols. It's a huge shift in who has the power.
So this all has to be building towards something bigger, right? And it is. The launch of VIVON, it isn't just about selling a new data plan. It's actually a super critical piece of the puzzle for building a whole new phase of the internet, and they're calling it Web4.
Okay, so Web4, what is it? You know, if you think of Web 2 as the social media boom and Web 3 as the whole blockchain and crypto thing, well, LINKSPREED is defining Web 4 with three main ideas. First, user sovereignty. That means you're in control. Second, decentralized protocols to get rid of today's corporate gatekeepers. And third, a brand new layer of AI-driven interactions.
And you know, the CEO of LINKSPREED, Mark Herdna, he really sums it up perfectly. He says, the shift to Web 4 is fundamentally a shift toward digital sovereignty. And that one phrase, autonomous means to connect, man, that just gets right to the heart of it. It's all about putting the power back into the hands of the individual.
Look, a big vision is great and all, but how do you actually build it? This is where their strategy gets really interesting. See, they're not just trying to fix one little part of the problem. They're trying to build the whole thing, what tech people call a full-stack solution.
And this is their playbook right here. They're going after three key layers of our digital lives. First up is identity, using something called UID for a Universal Digital ID. Then you have the social layer, with a decentralized social network called Atrium. And now, the final, crucial piece, connectivity. And that's all powered by VIVON. When you put all three together, you get an entire ecosystem designed for digital independence.
So how exactly does VIVON fit into this? Well, first, it's the key to that borderless connectivity, right? Using eSIM technology to just kill roaming barriers and fees. It also sets the stage for much tighter security because you can eventually integrate your connection directly with your digital identity. And maybe most important of all, it provides that solid high-speed connection that this whole decentralized world is going to need to, actually work.
Okay, we've talked about the tech, the companies, the strategy, but let's just zoom out for a second. Let's bring this back to the big picture. Why should you care about any of this? Why does your internet connection matter for more than just how fast you can stream a movie?
Because really, when you boil it all down, this is so much more than just another data plan. At its very core, this whole thing is a statement about digital freedom. It's opening up a huge debate over who gets to be the gatekeeper of your digital world. Who controls your access to information? Who controls your access to each other?
And that kind of leaves us with one big final question to think about. Is this whole push for a full-stack, independent internet, is this really the future of digital freedom? Or is it just one company's massive, ambitious plan to build its own new version of a walled garden? Something to chew on. Thanks for tuning in.